Arizona versus Michigan. Michigan is favored by 1.5 points. Where do you stand on the Wolverines versus the Wildcats?
Hardest game of the weekend to pick in the Final Four. Nightmare scenario. Two militant 1 seeds that have stomped through their entire brackets and quadrants. I stand Arizona. I stood Arizona from the very start. It would feel very weird for me to jump off ship now when I think maybe a month ago, I picked Arizona as my favorite. I love this team. I love how they worked Purdue, who had been a steamroller, like with strength and power and just good passing. And Arizona just didn't play around with it. They're like, we're better than you. I know you are doing this traditional offense, Matt Painter stuff where it's back to the fundamentals. We have better athletes than you, Purdue. And Michigan has some size. Michigan, I think, could stack up well with Arizona. They're getting players healthy and back and ready. But I again, every time we talk about Arizona, I bring back broken record. Where's the weakness? Where am I seeing a weakness with this team where I wouldn't invest in? I don't see many with Michigan either. Trust me, I don't. Because we've sat down and watched.
Well, allergic reactions are apparently the one weakness that they have.
Yeah, that's not great. But every time we've sat down and watched a Michigan game, it's like, okay, well, if they're getting a little bit of bump, and then they just start raining threes and they just break it open.
They beat you to death with hammers. It's not even it's not even surgical. They just smash you into the pavement and then you have to attempt to get up.
It's unfair.
Nobody's been able to touch them.
It's really unfair how good both of these teams have been. I believe you said it last show, like this would have been the best option for the national championship because I think both teams would have beat Illinois and UConn respectively. But it's Arizona for me. They've been my dog. I got to keep on riding with them. I have to. I can't jump ship now.
All right, so here's where I'm completely dismantling your argument.
Okay, sure.
What's their weakness? Where do they fall short here?
Yeah.
You know where they fall short, and we're going to discuss this a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Lloyd, the Arizona coach, refuses to acknowledge that he does not intend to take the UNC job. The words, "I will not take the UNC job," they have not come out of his mouth. Now, this is not Lane Kiffin-esque. He is still doing the typical bit. Is he trying to leverage for an extension? I'm sure that he is. But if you have no intention of going to UNC, can you please state it? If you are this focused to win a national championship, can you please state it? You know who hasn't really talked about this and it hasn't made headlines? Dusty May. Dusty May seems awfully focused.
Must be a worse coach not getting that opportunity.
But Dusty May has a much more, I think, secure situation where his athletic department financially, I believe, has far more backing to keep him locked in and to keep him happy. They gave him a crap load of money to put together this ridiculous roster that they have for this upcoming year, this season that they've had. I think that of the two coaches, I would much rather buy into Dusty May to be able to get a lot out of his team. Meanwhile, Tommy Lloyd is over here getting irritated by questions about his job security that he won't be direct about.
This is Stanford medical degree spin doctoring right now.
What do you mean?
Where we're going to the coach's lack of official comments on the matter.
Dude, no, come on. This has always been a tale as old as time. Coaches, the distraction created by coaches potentially leaving and taking other jobs. That has been a tale as old as time. So why wouldn't I invest in that with this game coming up on Saturday? It's right around the corner.
Yeah, and then he could make the decision in literally a week after everything.
But the dudes in the locker room don't know what's going on.
Okay.
They're on Twitter. They're seeing, man, everybody keeps saying coach is leaving.
They're on Twitter. They're seeing the copy link button doesn't work. That's what they're seeing on Twitter. All right. They're not seeing anything about their coach.
All right, fair.
No,
wait, what are we saying? Yes, they're saying shit about their coach.
I almost had him. Dude, I'm not worried about that. I know why I should be, because if I was in the situation, I probably would pull out a very similar argument of distracted team. Let me find an angle on it. But that's not even supposed to be like a pejorative about the discussion we've had, but more of like picking between Arizona and Michigan in this game is incredibly difficult because of how powerful they both are. So if you can find an angle, take the angle. It's at least an angle. I am just believing with the team that I picked from Jump Street, and I will continue to because I was right, smarter than all of you. But I don't hate you for your take.
I think that part of where this difficulty in picking this game comes from is as you talked about, the unstoppable performance of both of these teams thus far. But I think that we can extrapolate particular instances recently that have proven why the argument can be pushed for either team. So for Arizona, they get challenged a little bit by Purdue, and then they just surge and they hold them off. Michigan hasn't had really such a circumstance during their playoff run, but the difference is that since February, they have had 2 games in which they dropped against top opponents that were teams that made it to the Elite Eight. So they lost to Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. They lost to Duke. As much as I think that it was clear that those matchups maybe exposed some weaknesses in order for them to lose tight games late, part of me has faith in this Michigan team because they've been galvanized by those shortcomings. I understand that Arizona has played a particularly difficult schedule in the Big 12, but I would argue, this is kind of my Ohio State football argument from this past year,
Oh, God.
they haven't really been punched in the mouth recently. And I feel like having the ability to turn to those 2 games against those 2 Elite Eight teams is enough to motivate them and to keep them focused. And it's been proven by how untouchable that they've been on this run.
All right, let's have this conversation then. Last 2 games for Michigan, they face Alabama and Tennessee. Blow them out, both out respectively, scored 90 points in both those games respectively. Arizona beats Arkansas, who has maybe the best guard in all of college basketball this year, a top 3 pick in all of college basketball this year in Acuff. And then they beat Purdue, which is a harder test back-to-back. It has to be Arizona. Tennessee is limp noodles. Alabama didn't have a full squad.
I wouldn't classify. Oh, because they're down the one guy for selling weed.
Doesn't help.
That's enough to.
Doesn't help.
Okay.